Okay, I found it. I was like, why isn't this popping up? And we got that. Edit. No. Thumbnail. Thank you. All right, we got that. We got that.
A one-button auto rotation? Wait, what? Breaking news. Is implementing a rotation assistant? Wait, what? Single button assistant?
Welcome to a special edition of WowCast, where we're going to talk about a patch 11.1.7 feature, and then a broader discussion about add-ons in World of Warcraft in general. I'm Dratnos, World of Warcraft content creator.
I'm Max. I'm the raid leader of Team Liquid, the WoW Guild, and a content creator as well.
And I'm Ian Hazikostas, game director on WoW, and it's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
So,
Very excited to be here.
okay.
So what are we doing in 11.1.7?
A whole bunch of fun stuff, but one of the features that we're extra excited about is a new UI option that we're adding called Rotation Assist, which is really designed to help players. Option that we're adding called Rotation Assist, which is
He immediately bites his lip and then crosses his arm.
really designed to
He's like, okay.
help players who are maybe picking up a
Enables highlights that suggest the spell to cast. So it tells you how to play the game?
new spec or want some guidance on what abilities they should be using when, without having to turn to third-party add-ons for it. So we've seen that, there's an add-on called Hekili that is very popular with a lot of players. We're basically building in a very similar version of that into the base UI that you can opt into.
So it's not, I mean, it's not necessarily one button, but it highlights it. Or do you actually press the one button?
That will, no matter what DPS spec you're playing, highlight the recommended next ability given your current energy, what's going on around you, and so forth. One extra thing that we're also going to do, which maybe goes a bit beyond
this isn't April
the add-ons
Fools.
can do, is also have a one-button version of that, where there'll be
Okay, so you can get it to highlight the things so you know what to press, but you can also just get single button assistance where you just press one button.
Oh my god! Single button assistant.
be like a keybind that if you just want almost an auto rotation,
So you get to play the game with a garage door opener now.
opt into that, and it will just automatically cast the next recommended ability in the sequence. There'll be a small GCD penalty associated with that, but we want to make sure that this is for accessibility purposes, that it's there for people who maybe just honestly aren't interested in the gameplay of mastering their spec. They want to explore Azeroth and experience the story, and the mechanics kind of get in the way of that sometimes. This should be for them. Ideally, this is not a tool where someone is being told by their raid leader to stop trying to DPS manually.
Like 100% people are going to be told to stop and to DPS with the auto one button.
Oh my god.
This is not a tool where someone is being told by their raid leader to stop trying to DPS manually and just turn on the one button mode to meet some DPS check. That we want to give you the tool.
Well, of course they would be. No, of course. Ian's wrong. So because, okay, so this is what would happen, right? Is that
Graph.
so the red line is the artificial one button DPS. And this is manual. So if you are inside of this area here, you will be told by your raid leader, just turn on the one button mode, stop trying to play the game yourself, And if you're not in this mode and you're over here, you're going to be told to do it yourself. How does he do the how the fuck? Like, these are the best players that have played the game for 20 years. How the fuck do you guys not see this obvious graph?
Aspen sees everything in graphs.
What the hell is going on?
Kind of true though.
This is crazy.
Manually and just turn on the someone that sometimes. This should be for them. Ideally, this is not a tool where someone is like being told by their raid leader to stop trying to DPS manually and just turn on the one button mode to meet
It
some
absolutely will be.
He's like, yeah, no, this is gonna be
DPS check. That we want to give you the tools to kind of
I remember I even did this with my mom because she was like, I don't know how to DPS. I say, okay, hit Starfire. After you're done hitting Starfire, hit it again. Just do that. And yes, the best Moonkin rotation was more complex than that. But her interpretation of that rotation was worse than her just spamming Starfire. So I just had her spam Starfire. And everything was fine. Yeah, bro, I invented this in 2009.
go through that organic progression naturally.
Great.
But so the rotation assist doesn't come with a penalty or anything like that. That's just we're going to show you what your next button is.
Exactly.
Right.
It's very similar to the Hakili add-on. It's kind of reflecting, just the latest kind of established theory crafting, and it's something that we would continue to update, with spec changes and class changes over time. Ideally, it all's born out of the idea that we've seen a valuable tool that players feel like they should be looking outside the game to download, and we'd rather just reduce the barriers to that and make it available to everyone.
This game is so lost, it's actually insane. It's actually crazy to me that we are even in this position. It is so cooked that I can't even believe it. So why don't we try to employ a little bit of higher level thinking here? If the problem is that you need an add-on to play your character, maybe you should make characters easier to understand and play. Have you ever thought about that? That maybe you don't need 50,000 fucking buttons and rotations and pop-ups and, special, like that's it. So basically they're creating a problem and now they have to solve the problem that they've created. Yes, it's just insane. It's basically like all Blizzard had to do was make a wheel, but they couldn't do a wheel. They had to make a hoverboard. In order to make a hoverboard, you have to have the right kind of wood. And then then you need a seatbelt for the hoverboard because sometimes people can fall off the hoverboard. And what if the hoverboard goes too fast? Okay, well, you have to have a speed limiter on the hoverboard. And then on top of that, what are you going to use for fuel? How much is the fuel going to cost for the hoverboard? And we're doing all this stuff instead of just thinking about how to make a wheel. It is crazy the amount of gymnastics that they're going through in order to appease these top 0.001% players that play the game as a job instead of making the game better for everybody. This needless, unnecessary complexity that can only be basically responded to with further needless, unnecessary complexity and weird systems that simply remove gameplay from the game. It's insane. How the fuck did this happen?
Okay, yeah, because there's two parts to it, right?
Crazy.
Like the advanced is, I want to really go into this, is the one button thing, but that's not necessarily everyone that's going to use this. Like, I think this game, especially new players getting into it, there's a lot going on within a particular class, and you can be a little lost trying to figure out exactly what I should be pressing. So even just using it as...
Then shouldn't you address that problem rather than introduce a solution to remove it? I think that's a design problem. If a person can't like easily understand how to play their character in a video game, maybe that's a problem with the way the game is designed. Duh.
Like as a guide to start learning your class and move off of it eventually, but just having a base understanding of what actually should I be doing at a base level.
If I play Retail WoW again, I'm 100% just using this button.
True.
I'm putting it on spacebar too.
Of this.
That's really exactly the motivation on our end. I mean, especially with warbands and War Within, we see lots and lots more alts, and leveling is pretty quick. You got a bunch of Warbound until equipped gear that you're passing over to a new character, and just jumping into their full rotation when you've never played the spec seriously before can be a pretty serious undertaking. And for some people, this may be enough for them, and that's fine too. But we recognize that there's so much. WoW has such a high skill ceiling that just recommend.
Why?
Because you made it like that.
For these people that you constantly talk to, that are these people play your game as a job. And you're
Even the people that don't play the game as a job act like it's a job.
constantly listening to
I like RuneScape. A little bit. I like it better. I like RuneScape better though. Because I played both.
them on how to maintain that complexity. This is so distorted, it's unreal.
What the next ability isn't going to really remove that or fully solve that. There's still the muscle memory that you need to form, and then all of the nuances of, like, we might have a recommendation for a rotation that makes sense if you're fighting a target dummy, you're fighting patchwork, but when you need to plan around the fact that you're going to have to move in 4 seconds, that's a whole different layer of skill that
Hey, Miss David.
still rests with players.
Yeah, I know when I'm trying to, play a new spec for the first time or haven't played it in years, it often feels like I've got like a 30-minute checklist of, okay, I got to set up my keybinds, got to make sure, oh, this ability's changed since 2 expansions ago.
They're so close. They're so close. They almost understand. You're so fucking close to solving the problem.
I got to rebind that. And then I got to go and read some guides and figure out how all my new rotation works. And oh, here's how the new set bonus works. So I get.
What? What? Was someone TP my house? Oh, not my room. I was thinking like behind me.
See it being really nice to just have a.
Maybe.
So it would be really nice to just have a button that just does everything for you. Why not make it easier so you don't need the button? Like, what the fuck is it? This is...
This is a way to jump into some content to do with your friends and have it work out nice and easily.
Is that right?
One thing that jumps out to me is that a lot of the content I'd want to do would be like delves or keys. And in either of those cases, there's a lot of AoE.
Yeah.
Is this going to have a, are we going to detect whether we're fighting 3 targets, 5 targets, and is it going to cast my Arcane Explosion instead of my Arcane Blast, or
it should be
is
able
it just
to.
always going to be a single target?
It's not just single target. There is, some sense of, how many enemies are within your range, in front of you, etc. And so that will affect the recommendations. Again, the goal is not optimal. The goal is.
Imagine if you TP'd my house. That'd be wild. It would be so funny. It would just play RuneScape. It'd be like I was like 10 years old again.
It's not like this is gonna, okay, everyone's always gonna get perfect parses and so forth going forward. But as a baseline, this should be, it should be useful the same way that many, many people find Hakila useful today. And really, like a lot of this building on the foundations of the cooldown manager.
This game is so cooked, it's actually insane. I'm looking. You know what? Real ones remember this. It's the same one. It's and you know it's the same one. God, this is unbelievable. I
that just came out in 11.5 kind of reflects us hearing
I have
from
no
the
idea what that
community
means.
telling us that they feel like they need to seek out these third-party resources just to play the game at like
Yo, his reactions. And he's acting like that because, like, all they're doing is explaining why their game is really hard and why, like, they had to create something to fix their game that was really hard instead of just fixing the game. It's like a band-aid. Or a one button band-aid. Yeah, our game's too hard, so instead of like making it better, we're just gonna give you all a one button rotation. Like, what? He's like, they're so close. They almost have it. They're right there.
You know what this is like? This is like watching an advertisement for one of those scam phone games where it's like a guy with a machine gun is moving back and forth and one of them says add 100 and it says subtract 1 and then he goes into the one that says subtract 1 and he dies. It's like it's so easy. It's so everybody can see what you're supposed to do.
a baseline effective level in competitive content. And us asking, like, is that where we want the game to be in the long term, and what can we do to build in native solutions to many of these problems?
Like the base construct of it, there is a, this will help you learn what you're supposed to do if you are new. And then there is a, hey, I don't want to be the best player at this game. That's totally fine. I play it for a different reason. I want to collect things. I want to, like, understand the story. I want to quest. I want to level, right? And I don't want to feel like I can go into any content and I just don't really know what I'm doing. I feel anxious about that. Like, you have the ability to just be like, okay, well, at least Blizzard's got me. You know, I can have something at a base level where I can press one button and just kind of hang out and play the game. I have one question.
I feel like in an old school RuneScape, it would be like if you were trying to get into like PvP, but you weren't really good at it, so they just made a one button prayer switch. So like if you hit that prayer, it just switched to whatever prayer that the other person was using. I feel like that would be kind of like what this is like. Except it still doesn't really make sense because World of Warcraft just has like too many key bindings. You have like 50 key bindings walking around on one character. Like, why?
About the actual rotational thing. So is that going to like change with talents? So like, let's say, is it going to work off the base talent build, or let's say you select a talent that now moves a AoE button into your single target rotation? Is it going to be smart enough or planned to be smart enough to incorporate a bunch of different potential talent builds?
The goal is that it's aware of your talents, and the logic is conditional based on what you do or don't have.
Yeah, I bet they're gonna use AI. I'm just kidding. I really
Talented.
How is it that you guys don't get this? I
like the decent players are gonna be manually casting their spells, but anyone that's below decent at the game, they're gonna be told to use the one button rotation, and then they're never gonna get good at the game. I mean, I guess you would if you stared at the one button and like, oh, this is what I need to use next. This is what I need to use next. But like, chances are you're probably not trying to work that hard.
This is honestly, when will WoW players stop eating shit?
Never.
Listen, if Blizzard needs, all right,
they want to
I will take a month off of my stream and I'll fix the game. Okay. I have to be able to stream a period of time, but I'll fix the game. And you're not going to like what I do, but I'm going to fix it. Just give me autoplay. The thing is that here is the paradox of autoplay. If a game requires autoplay, why do you have gameplay that's so meaningless that people don't even want to do it? That's the same problem here. And ironically, a Korean MMO figured this the fuck out with Throne and Liberty. It's like aim assist. Yes, pay to autoplay. Well, yeah, I mean, listen, I have an E6 S5 fucking Acheron in Star Rail, okay? Like, I couldn't afford my car because I bought that character. So I understand it. But at the same time, this is a garbage, Chinese, gotcha, trash, pay-to-win piece of shit game. I expect more out of World of Warcraft.
As with, this is going to be something.
And the Star Rail, here's the best part. Who here thinks the Star Rail autoplay is going to be better than this? Everybody knows it.
Continues to evolve. We may not have every single possible permutation accounted for in the version that we roll out with.
Yes.
But it should still be very useful in that form to everyone, and we'll just get refined from there.
Right.
Similar to the cooldown manager that we know is that is a first take at this. We have plans to add much more customization, much more functionality to that over time as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a really exciting feature individually. The thing that's most exciting to me is in the broader context of the cooldown manager, of all these other edit mode changes that have come out.
I'm just going to say it. I think people like this are ruining the game. I think that these hyper elitist, super uber 1% players are in the ears of Blizzard, constantly pushing for them to make the game more complex, design the game around Mythic, and this is not the way a game should.
Oh yeah, if anyone wants to watch the full screen, I'm streaming both ways on YouTube.
Be made. You shouldn't be making a video game, listening and consulting with people like this. And the problem, why is the solution to this not removing these complexities in the first place? It's because people like this keep begging them not to, because their entire fucking career is based off of it. That's it. The reason why this problem exists is because of the premise that you need all of these people to somehow, for some reason, go and, be professional WoW players. This is what it's all about. It's indirect sabotage. It is. The game is designed around these hyper-serious, super professional players, and everybody else has to play a worse version of the game because of it. That's the truth. Blizzard should never be listening to these people. World of Warcraft is not a competitive game. It's just not. Stop trying to make it a hyper-complex, omega competitive game, and just simply make the game fun to play, easy to understand, and intuitive to learn. These sweats kill every fucking game. And Blizzard has let these people infest and ruin the game ever since Cataclysm. Ever since Cataclysm, they kept making the game harder and harder and harder and more and more and more complex. And I think that they have done so much damage to the game. It doesn't help anybody. It's awful. It's not fun. Really, it's just simply not fucking. Cata was 100% the cutoff. Yes, they killed casual playing. They did. Because these are people that their job is being good at the game. So they will always want the game to maintain those different skill gap differences in ceilings so they can maintain that level of superiority over other players. That's it. Sweats ruin every fucking game. If Blizzard wanted to fix this, they would remove half of the fucking buttons, at least. They would remove half of the effects.
Least.
Why the fuck do you have Polymorph and Hex? Why do you have Horrify and Fear? What the hell is wrong with you? What are you, retarded? The fuck is this? This complexity is so unnecessary. It's so meaningless. And it's just confusing. It's weird. It's hard to understand. It makes the game completely unapproachable. And it's like these people have never played anything else other than World of Warcraft. And I know that's not true. I know Dratnos and Max have played other games. But these people are actively making the game worse by making sure that it retains this competitive edge that is killing it.
There was a time 5 years ago in WoW where if you were just getting into the game, there was an intimidating list of these are the add-ons that you need, and if you're not using these, you're kind of worse, right? Like you're noticeably worse if you can't track.
You're so close. You are so close. Oh my god.
Like they're almost identifying.
99% of the way there.
Your group member's major cooldown, right? Like you're worse at Mythic Plus than somebody who is, right? And it seems like the goal that has been accomplished with a lot of these things that have been coming into the base UI is you can use those add-ons if you want, but we now have a native way to the game where you don't have to get an add-on.
That's pretty much exactly our long-term philosophical goal here, right? Like add-ons are amazing.
Fuck!
You just shouldn't have to have an add-on.
Oh god, man! Why does this happen? Why did they do this to my game, man? This is the end? It's not the end. It was the end years ago. I haven't mauled it out about WoW in months, man. It's been months. I've been clean. And this had to bring me back in. Does anybody even like what are people saying about? They're all happy? Thanks for coming to our tour. A lot of people have a lot of passion for the game, and that comes to an interview. Oh, fuck. It's dead. It's dead. They're killing it. Oh, no. Oh. Oh, fuck. It's over, guys. It's over. The game's dead. Check McConnell's DMs.
Games.
Honestly, McConnell messaged me something the other day. It made me sad. I didn't even respond back to it. It did. It made me really sad. I'm gonna show it real quick. This is gonna fuck y'all up real quick. You screenshot it.
Holy fuck, there it is!
Yes, dude! There it fucking is, dude.
Azeroth's champion.
Boys, I better see some fucking Twitch Primes in chat right now.
Holy shit, man.
This is a big, big fucking deal.
Oh.
Huge.
I've been working at this for a long time. Now you can delete VFA? I guess so. Thank you. Holy shit, that's a... God damn, yo, boys. Yo, thank you. God, what the fuck? Thank you, boys, so much. This is one of the main...
The things that the community has done over the last 20 years to allow people to experience different aesthetics, different functionality, have information available at their fingertips, like that is a huge part of WoW's success, and we don't question or want to undermine that for a moment. At the same time, like as you said, ideally it is about what do you want? How do you prefer to have things presented to you? And not what do you have to do? What is a group mate or raid leader or whatever telling you you must download? Or if you ask people, how can I get better? I'm really struggling at this. The first answer shouldn't be, well, download this add-on, this add-on, and this add-on, otherwise you're doing it wrong. Because that's starting to get into that mandatory place, whether we like it or not. So yeah, I think, longer term, these initiatives kind of fit into part of.
No, it's not a joke. This is what they're doing.
How we're thinking about.
This makes me feel like I'm actually mad. No, I'm gonna say it right now. I'm actually mad.
Oh, Rock Obama with $10. Thank you so much, man.
Of add-ons in WoW. As
They're
we
killing
all
the
agree
game.
today, there is a sense that if you want to really be the best you can, if you want to play competitive content, there are certain add-ons that are required, that are simply going to improve your success over not having them. Period.
I have no idea, to be honest. I don't even have it.
We
I'll look
would
it up,
like
though.
to get away from that being the case. I think I'd love to see a WoW one day where you can still.
You're the game director.
Customize the aesthetic look of your UI. You can have information and quest helpers and all the other things that you might want to have to make your experience a bit more seamless. But that at the end of the day, when you're in competitive content, when you're queuing up for a rated PvP match, when you're going into a high key, when you're trying to get a first kill on a raid boss, there isn't the sense that you are, just holding yourself back if you're not using specific tools.
I know.
We know that there's a lot of work to do to get to a place where that could be the reality. The first steps really are going to be continuing to build up the just right out of the box functionality that World of Warcraft offers to shrink.
The first.
Oh, yeah, so it's in your settings. If you go to settings and type in tasks, it'll say combat achievement task failure. And if you check that, I guess when enabled, you'll be notified when you fail combat achievement task. Oh. When enabled, you'll when you recomplete a combat achievement. Yeah, so failure. Complete achievement task failure.
This is not good for your mental health. Have you ever thought what's going to happen with bots for this change? It doesn't matter. Bots will always be able to do things. It's not good for blood pressure. They'll never ban add-ons because it patches up shitty design.
Shrink that gap. But at the same time, I think we're aware that at the very end of this.
Oh. I forgot I wasn't on here. It's right here. I thought you were watching my screen the whole time, and then I was like, oh, wait. The YouTube videos.
Process, we probably are going to have to rein in some of the functionality that add-ons currently have to do like real-time in-combat problem solving specifically, where it's like automating coordination.
This is just like, this is the easiest, most fucking obvious answer. Yes, you don't want add-ons that calculate things. You don't understand that add-ons that calculate things and add-ons that increase your awareness of things are the same thing, because both of them affect the amount of mental RAM that you're using. And so if you have an add-on that changes your awareness, it tells you when something is happening. That's not that much different than an add-on
I like that he said mental RAM. That's funny.
That can
I have, yeah, I got like 8 gigs of mental RAM.
calculate who
It's like it's not bad. It's not great though.
goes in what hole and when. The reason why is because both of these are active decision-making things that you're.
Barack Obama with $20. Yo, thank you so much, man. Shit, that's $30. Thank you so much. Shoot.
Doing
Oh, thank you for always helping.
during the fight.
You're not even a noob. You do freaking you raid.
Like this is it's all this what whole no it's the mythic jailer, right, is the example I was thinking of.
Communication in ways that are always going to be better.
So like here's the solution. Stop making fights like mythic jailer.
It won't let me like it. I wonder if they changed it to where you can't like your own.
Fucking duh. There's a reason why every other fucking MMO says that add-ons are cheating.
Oh, you can.
It's crazy.
Than anything the UI can natively provide you, as long as they remain possible.
Yeah, so that moves us into like raid
Excuse me.
bosses where I don't want to name any names, but there are people who have optimized a little bit of their own fun out of the game sometimes.
You and Misbehaving are like half of my. You're like half of what I make on YouTube. It's so.
Who is it? Who is it? Who's doing it? Oh my god. Just give me a minute. Give me a minute. Everything's fine. It's not. Look, it's just a game, right? It's just a game. It's just a game.
Yo, I'm glad I figured that out though, so that'll be good for top. I never knew about that either. I was like, how do people see whenever they fail tasks, the combat tasks?
And I spent 20 years playing this fucking game. 20 fucking years playing this shit. And it's been taken over by these professional sweats that want to ruin a game that millions of people used to love. And in a lot of cases, still do love.
I feel like that's why a lot of people like Classic too. Because like Classic's way simpler. You don't have 700,000 key bindings and rotations. It's usually just like 3 or 4 buttons and thing.
Because of their bullshit.
I don't know where any of them might be sitting. They could be anywhere. They could be in this room with us.
Hey man, I am the like number
They
one.
are in the room with you. There's 3 of them.
Let's just YOLO this. Let's just do.
Alexa, stop. Why would you play that, bro? Some like horror movie music just started playing through my Alexa. It was like dun, dun. And then it'd stop and it'd do it again. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Help me.
Let's just do the fight. Let's make it work.
I've been watching too many body cam footage things. I'm in like horror movie mode.
And then sometimes it gets to, let's try to make something that could be 95% successful, 100 or 99, right?
That actually scared me. I don't know why.
And there's a lot of frustration with the tech involved with that. I would definitely be, I think a lot of the rating community would be pretty for that. You know, I think a well-designed mechanic that the game giving you enough.
To be fair, you did help contribute to the hyper mid-maxing of the game. You're right. If you're watching the react, there's 4 people. No, you're absolutely right. And this is the best part, is like, I was the problem. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I'm just going to say it. Who was the problem? Me. I was the problem. That's it.
information to solve this on your own realistically. A lot of the times the community will just use one because it's like what everyone else uses, it gets you in the same place. But if that doesn't exist and the game is giving you that information, it's objectively better, right?
And even if you are doing it very well,
Is it objectively better to get raid information from native you?
manually, it's always going to be better to do it perfectly in a competitive situation. I mean, having watched, your raid leading, for example, over many, many years over the race to world first, like years ago, you would call much more stuff verbally.
Very
like
true.
going back to
Race to world first. Like, how is this even on their radar? How is this even being discussed? It's like 50 people. This is so. I can't believe. How is it?
Like, I feel like they should be discussing like how this is going to be used in like Raid Finder. Nobody in Raid Finder is going to actually use their spells. I bet the raid would go so much smoother too. Like, and then that's there's so many problems.
This is happening to me. Max is going to say Asmon doesn't play the game anymore? Exactly.
Same white shirt from 2011. Nah, it's too clean. He got a new pack. He had to have got a new pack. He's probably been wearing the same white shirt for a few weeks, you know?
Exact. That's the point. There's way more people that have quit the game than are playing it.
True that.
the Legion BFA era, whereas nowadays it seems like if there is something you're calling repeatedly on attempts, the first thing you're doing is asking if, hey, can we automate this and get me out of the business of talking, which seems like it might be less enjoyable for you as a raid leader.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, if we're talking about that, I could talk all day about that. Yeah. No, I mean, I felt like you certainly.
Yeah, his face like every time, bro. He's like, why are you guys discussing Race to World First high-end rating?
Really had more of an impact when you had the ability to, influence the fight more. But the reality is just getting some way to automate it for your players is just better. It is funny. Like when I do that now,
They're so close, man.
I think, what else can I be doing with my time? I could be like looking at other ways to optimize, and it's purely for the sake of getting better. So yeah, for my own enjoyment, yeah, that's sweet. Let's do that. I'm trying to wonder.
It's like they were trying to figure out the problem, and then they were like right at the problem. It was like they were driving a car at the problem, and then like this was the problem, and then like right before they hit the problem, they just took like a straight, like just like veered, and then like did something like what? We're gonna
wonder also about those kind of mechanics. So like what bosses have existed in my head, I think in the past couple
like they could have like one of the easiest, simplest things I feel like they could have done is just take the 70 key bindings that you normally have and like half it. That would make way more sense than a one button rotation.
years, there's not many, but have been defined by when we're progressing this boss, we feel like maybe we're progressing a week.
How are you listening to people that are playing the game as a job in the best guild in the world and getting feedback on how you need to design the bosses based off of that?
Like, this dude knows every single spell that every single class casts. You know what I mean? Like, most people don't. Most people don't even know the spells that their own class casts.
Doing this.
Aura, something like Brood Twister or Echo of Neltharion or Jailer maybe was one of the first ones, right? And those mechanics, I feel like, could not have been done or probably would have been nerfed with without weak auras or having that effectiveness of that reduced. what do you do as a fight designer now? Do you I know you're obviously like really passionate about raiding. You've raided for a really long time. What do you have to avoid those kind of assignment mechanics? Are there things in game you can?
Does this differ from your elitist videos from years ago? You were the sweat? Of course. Do you think the Race to World First, MDI, and esports for Blizzard are affecting the situation? Absolutely they are. Absolutely. The problem is that the game is built around a very small subset of hyper hardcore players, and it's built around maintaining their relevancy and maintaining some form of difference between them and the average player. So the game is handicapped and hamstrung in order to maintain these artificial skill gap differences. I'll be right back. All right. Here we go.
Use to like naturally sort out those things? Like, do you give more time for the mechanics? Like, like, do you have to stray away from assignments in general because the community has just, whether you like it or not, has like trained themselves to have something solve that for them? Do you have to like go back into like a more simple version of that? Do you find other ways to make fights difficult? There's obviously a bunch of ways to do that.
The way we design encounters has been influenced in significant ways by the way players use add-ons. I know, the community sometimes speculates that, oh, this was built.
Obviously. So you have the entire game that's being designed. Like, it's just, this game is so lost, bro.
It was like in the beginning, a few people used add-ons, and then the rest of the player base didn't. And then so they started making bosses geared more towards the players that were using add-ons. So then the people that weren't using add-ons had to get add-ons, or they were visibly worse at doing that boss. And then the problem just like has persisted over the past forever years.
Like, it's so lost, and there's so many problems. Like, I don't know if it's ever going to change or improve or anything. Like, like, how are you designing the game for add-ons? Like, it's just unreal. Vanilla's the only good version left. I don't understand. That needs a reset? Why? So they could put this into base game? No, the problem is, I think WoW does need a reset. But the same people that are making WoW 1 are going to make WoW 2, and it's going to be the same problems with the same game. That's the issue.
Clearly to require an add-on. I can say that's never the case. No encounter designer is ever sitting around saying, all right, we're going to make this mechanic, and then players will write this week order to solve it this way. All right, mission accomplished, let's ship the boss.
This is a super long video. I'm not going to go through the entire
It is a long video. Yeah, I played WoW for like, I don't know. It was never really consistent. It was always like, expansion would come out, do the raid. I would pretty much get, heroic. I would get at least a heroic clear on most raids from like Mr. Pandaria to like Legion. I didn't play BFA. Actually, I can't say I did. I did play BFA, but I didn't raid. I didn't raid until like, I didn't actually raid. I don't think until Legion. And then I raided until Dragonflight, and then stopped. Or like, wait, no, I played Dragonflight. I think I did the first raid in Dragonflight, and that was the last thing I did. It was like they just kept making the game worse, and I was like, fuck, dude, what do I, like, what do I do? And then you get freaking, my problem was always like, you would always get to a point, like, either in Mythic raiding or, I would always get to a point in either in Mythic raiding or in, like, plus 15 or higher keys to where like you would get to that point and it's like, what am I even doing? Like I'm going through these 45-minute to like hour-long dungeons to get my score higher for a key that's gonna reset, and the whole like this whole system's gonna reset in 4 months. We're gonna have to farm the gear again. I don't know. I was just like, bro. But it's always fun in the beginning until I get to that point. Yeah, I remember the auction house with the mailbox and everything that you need. I remember playing whenever they came out with that. And then they came out with one that you could buy or something like you could get it in the game. You could only get it in the game from like doing something or spending gold or whatever, but then they made it to where you could buy it. Was that right? Like from the store?
Thing. I pretty much just wanted to look at the beginning, but like this is crazy for me. Potty C on tour.
Yeah, the long boy. And then they put it in the store, like you just buy it with cash.
Native replacements for weak auras were 100% gearing up for console launch. Raid frames
Yeah.
need a major overhaul.
That was whenever a bunch of people had like a big problem with it.
Dude.
Yeah, Barack Obama's a hero, man.
How is this happened, man? Did you react to the auto rotation they're adding? Yeah, I reacted to it. I think that the auto rotation in this game.
I think there's a meme that's like, we gonna be eating good tonight, boys. We eating the ramen with the cup instead of the bag.
Is reminiscent of everything that I
It's
think
like,
is wrong.
damn.
I think that Blizzard has
Or the one my friend used to post one in high school all the time, and he was like, and this was like for real for him, and I didn't understand it because I was like, bro, you gotta stop doing that, like spinning on. Like we worked at the same place, we worked at the same IHOP, and we would both get paid, and dude bro would go eat, he would go eat like, you know, steak and lobster for the first 2 or 3 days, and then by the like by the end of like the second week he's eating water soup.
Constantly created problems and then has to invent solutions in order to get themselves out of the problem that they put themselves in the first place. I think this is just simply another example of Blizzard not understanding and having any way of like intuitively like getting the way that players think. It is more design around the 1%. And I know that it might not make sense to you. You might be like, how's it designed around the 1% if it's accessibility to make everybody play the game? It's simple. It's because the game should be at a baseline to where you don't want to use a one-button rotation. The game shouldn't be designed in a way that it's so complex that you have people defaulting to use an option. You have to program and like fucking AI in an option into the game so it can autoplay your character for you, because there's so many levels of complexity you can't even understand it without 3 different add-ons. Like conduit energy, yeah, that's a perfect example. Blizzard has always had this problem, and I think this is a fundamental problem with WoW. They have always had this problem that they do not understand why the game is good, how players think, and they always try to effectively, instead of actually revert back from decisions, they try to just build in more fail-safes from their bad decisions in the first place. So what's happening is that you have all of these systems that are put in the game that are compounded on each other, and you have all of these different like mechanics and this.
I don't even know if he's here.
Design.
Or still.
Like if I watch the way that these new raids are played, like look at this, like for example, right? I'll just pull up a random WoW stream, okay? Let me see. We'll pull up, and I want you guys to see how ridiculous this is.
Yeah, the GCD is longer, but it's like it's only slightly longer. So if you're bad at the game, you're still gonna do more DPS by using the one button rotation. But then, like, if you actually want to learn the game, it's cool because the things you can get them to light up for you. You got a headphone on? Are you gonna listen? You can listen to the video? You can listen to the video? Yeah.
This is insane.
You hear Asmund?
Really, this is the new raid. This is absolutely crazy. Why is this happening? And that's basic UI. I think that
He like stops for a second. He's like, "What?"
No, the damage meters are not basic UI. By the way, no, it's not. But either way, it's not that bad, to be honest. Yeah, it is bad. It's bad. Nobody's going to see something like that and say, "Oh, this is great. I want to keep doing this." If I can pull up Arena, it's even worse. And so anyway, I think this is really the problem that the game has, is that they constantly make it more and more and more complex. And then instead of actually reducing that complexity and moving away from it, instead of that, they just add in ways to avoid the complexity entirely. The problem is the complexity. So if you involve, like, basically, it's like you're building, a river, and now you need to build a bridge to go over the river. You should have never built the river in the first place. The problem is the river. The bridge is a band-aid. And this is the issue that I think this game has, is that there's so much complexity to it. There's so much designed around it. And as I said, I'll be honest, I think it's guys like this that are professional players of the game that want to maintain the race to world first. They want to maintain the complexity of the game because it is their job. You need to stop listening to people that play the game for a living, and you need to start.
I've only done 3 Barrows CAs. I don't even have. That's funny.
Looking at what makes a good experience for a person playing the game. Imagine how shitty Elden Ring would have been if it was designed for people that beat Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 1, Sekiro, and Bloodborne. It wasn't. It was designed for people coming into the franchise and they wanted to play a new game. Every boss is Millennia. Yes, every boss would be Millennia. Isn't that you, though? No, I'm not playing the game as a job. Yeah, no, that's it. You're saying a game shouldn't be optimized for players like yourself? That is absolutely what I am saying. I am absolutely saying do not design the game for the top 1% of sweats, because if you do, they're the only ones who will keep playing it. That's exactly what I am saying. I must not have seen your Elden Ring playthrough. Yeah, just don't raid Mythic, man. Just keep doing Heroic. I don't know. But, like, that's the whole problem that you have. Like, just don't do Mythic. Okay, just don't do the hard content that's really complex, that's rewarding, that gives you the best gear, because we've made it needlessly complex. Why does it need to be that complex as a baseline in the first place? Who decided this? Well, I'll tell you who decided that. Top 0.001% players that need to use this content as a either job or an ego meter so they can feel better about themselves. This is not a good way of designing the game. You guys are coping so hard, you're not the target audience. I know. That's why I stopped playing. Duh. That's exactly what I've said before. That's why I stopped playing.
What do you say?
You guys are coping so hard, you're not the target audience. I know.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That's why I stopped playing. Duh. That's exactly what I've said before. That's
why a lot of people stop playing.
My whole point. Yes, that's like, duh. Until the design completely crashes the player base, this will keep going on. I quit Mythic Raiding because I didn't wipe 400 times on one boss after my long day of work. Yes. Destiny 2 had a similar problem because the director is a 1% raider. Look at Yoda's stream right now. He's pushing Mythic. Let me see. Yoda, where's Yoda? I'm not sure really if I can
Stop
find him
biting.
or not. Let me see.
Don't bite me.
Okay. This is crazy. Really, this is insane.
He's just looking. He's just dead staring at me. How are you doing? I love you.
What's really sad is like dislike on the video. Cooked WoW is, my friend. Yeah. Cooked WoW is.
Cooked. It'd be cooked.
I guess this is just the way it is now, guys.
It do being cooked.
I feel like, honestly, the game, I am no longer the target audience for the game. I think this was done partly by Blizzard and partly by me. Obviously, I haven't played WoW, retail WoW, in quite a while. It sounds kind of sad to say because, you know, it used to be like my main game. I used to love retail WoW. I would play it constantly. But nowadays, I just simply don't have the same level of enthusiasm or interest in it anymore. And I think this is one of the really big reasons.
Yeah, it just gets annoying. Like, it's so much fun playing WoW when you go back and you're like, oh, this is so much fun. And you play through, like, one, like, season. And then you have to reset everything and get new gear and do everything all over again. And deal with the same issues you dealt with the last season. And you're like, okay.
Why? And I think it's super sad to see that happen. And
super sad.
You should attempt a casual play through the max level. Why? I mean, like, I just don't go back to the cave. Yeah, it's boring and lame now. Yeah, I guess so. Bro remembers Burning Crusade. Yeah, I remember Burning Crusade, man. I do. And you just grew up? I didn't grow up. I mean, it's not about growing up. It's just my interest changed and I stopped doing the same thing because I've been doing it for a long time and I wanted to do other stuff instead. It's not even that, but Google WoW Classic.
It's like, there's just like, you can't even say that because old school RuneScape, I don't know. Like, old school RuneScape went in a direction of like, we're going to make the game fun for our players. Whereas World of Warcraft went in the direction of, we're going to make the game fun for our top 1.001% players.
Classic raid UI, literally nothing changed over the years. Yes, it has. There's too many things happening on the screen. You can't tell me that a boss that does 20 different things is the same thing that Chromagus is. It's insane. I don't know. I guess this is just another example of me being more certain that I'm no longer the target audience for the game. And as somebody who was a huge fan of the game for years, I'm disappointed in that, and it's frustrating. That's it. That's the way I feel. It's frustrating. It's sad. Yeah, it is. But if they made your changes, would you start playing again? I'd be more likely to. I mean, I don't want to say I'm going to play the same way I used to. Like, I'd probably play sometimes for sure. Like, same as I played Season of Discovery when it came out. But in a general sense, I mean, do I want to go back and play... Do I want to go back and play this game super hardcore forever? No, I don't. But that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be designed that way. Those little screenshots were just memes. Nobody uses 4 different RAID frames. Yeah, I think so too. But you ever got great memories that involve WoW? It's undeniable. Yeah, I think so. But I just feel like, this problem, this solution, what this tells me is that the game is not going to get better anytime soon. And I understand that there's a lot of people that play retail WoW and they still like retail WoW. They think it's a great game. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you have something that you enjoy. But I just can't get into it. That's all there is to it. I just can't get into it. It's not my thing. And Blizzard's a business. They have to chase the money. I mean, then why are you making it for the 1%? You should make the call. Do not cover WoW anymore until you feel like it's going in the right direction. That's, I mean, like, why do I have to make a call? Like, I'm just going to talk about it if I feel like there's something interesting to talk about and not if there's not. I mean,
You're more worried about Hearthstone? Did they shut that down too? After, first it was Dota, and then Hearthstone. It was very sad. More about Hearthstone than Dota, though.
I don't make decisions like that. Like, I don't need to, like, draw lines in the sand with myself all the time. Like, I just do what I feel like doing. So, I don't know, man. Did you hear another Crater Clash fighter dropped out of the event? Yeah, I did, actually. I'll look at that in a minute. It's all Limit Max's fault because he defends weak auras religiously. They need to ban weak auras. So the problem is that they don't understand that weak auras are not the problem. They are a solution to the problem. The solution would not necessarily need to exist if the problem in itself was solved. The problem is that the game is too overly complex and it doesn't give you the tools to understand what's happening in a way that's digestible for an average person. And it's over-designed to the point that it is a sensory overload for an average player. If people can't understand that, then I don't think that you know what it's like for a new player to get into it. It's palliative solution? Yes, exactly. People use weak auras in Classic too? Yeah, but they don't need to. That's the difference. Everybody will always optimize the fun out of the game, but the difference is that in retail WoW, you basically need to. In Classic WoW, you don't. Isn't it a vicious cycle? It's like over-designed because they expect the weak aura? Yeah, it is. And they're even, like, Ian is even saying this. He's saying that we over-design fights because of weak auras, basically. Like, yes, is encounter design influenced by add-ons? He says, yeah, it is. Okay, well, that's bad. Which makes weak auras the problem? Okay, all right, look, listen, I understand, but, like, I think weak auras are also a problem. But what my point was is that weak auras, at least in retail WoW, are a symptom of a problem. Like, I think they're both problems. Just remove add-on life support? Yeah, I know. Sod has a good model with the hard modes and stuff? I don't know. I haven't, it's just... How's the WoW Reddit taking this? When they got dinars? Oh my god. Nice for Potty C hosts small creators like Ian, official news. These are good foundations, but we need to have add-ons like weak auras frequently updated and rebuilt. Given what their initial version was of the cooldown manage. It's done, bro. It's done. Yep. It's just that's it. That's just the way it is, boys. That's life. Man, people seem pretty positive. Maybe you're wrong. Of course they do. I think of course they do. Because, so this is the reason why. I think that WoW has had a seemingly, like, from every observable metric that I can find in terms of, like, let me look at this. Like, for example, actually, it's because, like, this is a problem primarily with retail. So you can look at, like, Classic and Season of Discovery and Hardcore, etc., and they'd all kind of be lumped into this. So, like, Google Trends probably wouldn't work as a good example for this. But here's what I can say, is that, are they just eating it? Yeah, they're eating the shit. Shorekeeper build? Yeah, I was trying to make the character better. And, yeah, I got the character in Wuthering Waves. But anyway, add-ons are great for Cocomelon Brain. Anyway, what's happened is that, of course, the remaining people that are playing the game won't like this because the game's made for them. What my point is that basically, so here's the problem, okay? This is the WoW player base, okay? We're just going to use this as an example. So here's the entire WoW player base. It's the green, okay? The problem is that just a second, sorry. Basically, these are all the people that have already stopped playing the game.
The first thing I read on there was green penis.
And then the remaining people, obviously, a lot of them like it. Some of them might not, but some of them do. What I'm saying about this is that these decisions are just about maintaining this part right here, and they never think about this massive amount of people that have totally been lost by the game. You see kind of what my point is with this, is that there's a huge audience of people that have played WoW over the years, and none of these changes and none of these implementations ever bring back new players. They just get old players to not, or sorry, current players to not quit the game. That's it. Myself included, I haven't played for about 6 years. They're writing them off as people whose opinions no longer matter. Exactly. And, like, basically that's what's happened, is that now the people that are playing the game all the time are the ones whose opinions matter, which in some cases I think makes sense. But the problem is that the result of it is that the entire game now is designed around those people. And as the game becomes increasingly smaller and smaller and smaller, what you're going to have is you're going to have this audience of people. Of course, they're happy about it because they're the only ones that are left, and it's been designed for them in the first place. It sounds like fighting games, Street Fighter, imports modern controls, single button assistant will be amazing for accessibility. That's a totally separate thing. Like, if you were adding this purely for people that had accessibility problems, then I would be completely okay with it. But here's the reality. So my mom back in the day, she had accessibility problems. The reason why is because she had really bad eyesight, right? She was old, she had bad eyesight, her hands were fucked up. And she had to quit playing the game seriously in about, really Cataclysm. Cataclysm was the point. The reason why the game isn't accessible is because there are too many things happening at the same time, and it's overwhelming for a person. That's the reason why it happens. Of course, they're catering to people still playing. Why wouldn't they? Well, it's a sub game. Blizzard makes money from the subs. Why would they listen to they haven't played WoW in 6 years? Fuck that game, people. Because there's more people that haven't played WoW in 6 years than are people that are playing WoW right now. That's the reason.
All right, more body cam footage. Woo! All right, so we're gonna. A man reveals horrifying secret in his backyard by EWU Bodycam.
911, where's your emergency?
I killed somebody.
Who did you kill?
I don't want to say right now.
He says this is where he buried the body in here. There's the shovel. He says it's not very deep either.
He was a bad man.
In the late afternoon of July 21st, 2020, Dispatchers at Marion County receive a disturbing 911 call. At first, police officers are hesitant to believe the man who claims to have committed a heinous crime. But as officers arrive on the scene, they quickly discover that getting to the bottom of the truth will be no easy task.
Okay, what's your name?
My name's John Wells.
John Welsh?
Yes.
It's John Wick. His cousin.
Do you have any type of
I don't have any
on you,
weapons.
sir?
I don't have anything. I don't want to. I'm just trying to drink my. I'm not doing anything wrong right now. I'm just.
Sir, I promise you, I'm not accusing you of doing anything wrong whatsoever. I'm just trying to know what my officers are walking into.
The guy's buried here.
You buried the person at your house?
Yes. This is a confession. I'm going peaceful.
Police are soon dispatched to meet with the distraught caller, unaware of what they're about to get themselves into.
We just told you.
The following footage has never been seen before.
He just told you he killed someone and buried him in the backyard.
I killed someone.
Okay, where at?
Killed him here.
Here at this house?
Yes.
How long ago?
This was about a couple months ago.
Okay.
Dang.
Who's the person you killed?
I'd rather not see it right now.
Okay, well that's, how am I gonna know if somebody's missing or what you're saying is true?
Because the person was very estranged and very outlawed.
Where's the person at now?
Out back.
Can I go look? You don't mind?
I don't mind.
John's reluctance to give details about the victim leaves police questioning whether his story is true. So, two officers begin their search of the suspect's backyard.
Anything out of the ordinary, Nick? Huh?
Something was dug up 2 months ago.
No. You saying it's 2 months ago?
Yeah.
When the officer returns to ask for a more specific location, John is quick to share exactly where he buried the body.
Where at in the backyard? What area?
Under the left window. Where the flower, the garden is. That's where he is.
Who is it?
Some older guy that he just met that day.
His claim that the victim was nothing more than a stranger will not be the first of his many lies today. Separating fact from fiction will be more than a challenge, given John's apparent state of intoxication.
So, why would you, like, obviously you're saying you killed somebody, so you're admitting the homicide and that he's here, which we could easily find out if we start digging up your yard. So, why would you withhold the guy's name?
Do you know the guy's name?
We would just kind of like to get a head start, seeing if we can find out if he's been reported missing or nobody even knows he's gone. That kind of stuff, you know?
Despite their repeated questions about the victim's identity, John appears hesitant to share any crucial details.
I don't think so.
Sir, do you want me to go ahead and give him a call?
I don't think so. I think he was a piece of no one wants.
Can you tell us just so we can check?
Jasper. Jasper, that's all I know. That's all I know his name to be. And he was a black. That wasn't the reason.
Well, I'm not saying,
That wasn't
trying to
but
figure
that
out
was
who he was.
that wasn't the reason.
Okay, yeah, nobody's saying it was.
Where's he from? Do you know?
He said he was from Colorado. He said he was from Colorado.
He goes on to explain that he met Jasper through a neighbor and that he'd been living in his truck parked in John's driveway.
Where's his truck at now?
I have no idea.
Did you do something with it or?
Officers may be hesitant to believe him, but as they discuss it amongst themselves, John finally speaks up. His answer and following confession make it clear that unearthing the truth will be harder than they imagined.
He was staying in his truck, and his truck was here in the driveway, but it got towed away by somebody And but no, basically, sounds like what he's saying is somebody got rid of it for him.
It's a lie. I'm sorry. I'm lying to you.
Okay.
What are you lying about? Everything?
I'm not lying about it. I'm lying about that.
But you're not lying about the homicide.
Everything else is true.
Okay. Where'd this all happen at then?
Right here.
Outside, inside?
Right here.
Where we're standing?
Right here where we're standing.
Okay. How many shots were fired? Do you know how many shots you fired? 3?
Let me see if I can check that out.
With little more to go on than a first name, a missing truck, and a less than truthful suspect, police search their database for clues. What they discover next may provide some much-needed answers. 2 months before officers arrived on the scene, this call was placed to 911.
I believe I heard a gunshot. I'm not 100% sure, but it was way too different to be a firework. And then there was 2. They were about, I want to say, 2 minutes apart.
Any idea where they might have been coming from, what direction?
Yeah, it was really close. I believe, honestly, it was next door to me.
Fortunately, the neighbor in question is home. As it turns out, her boyfriend was with her at the time of the incident, and he begins to describe the disturbing details of what he witnessed.
Yo, they were just like, right. He just did it out in the front. He just did it out in the front of his house. Just with the people watching.
Well, me and her brother were over there playing GTA. Like one.
Yo. He said, yo, we were playing GTA and we thought it was a game, but like it wasn't.
2 in the morning.
Okay.
We heard a boom. Like, I asked him, "Do you hear the noise? Was that you?" And he literally opened his door again, point it. I'm not saying gun because I'm not 100% sure. But pointing whatever down, boom.
If he was shooting a gun, he would have shot it inside the truck.
Yeah, like right on, like right in the floorboard. You want to be honest, it would look like at least.
All that the officers need to know now is the location of the handgun. Unfortunately, the answers they get are far from what they want to hear.
How did you kill this person?
With a Russian knife.
A handgun? And you still have this handgun?
Somebody broke in and stole. Somebody broke into my house and somebody broke into my house since then. And they stole it.
Bruh. That's wild. That's wild that like these guys have to sit here and like try to get this story out of a guy who's like standing there with his eyes closed and slumped over drinking a beer.
Sure, pat him down. We're gonna
He's like, bro, I gotta touch him.
check, just make sure you don't have your weapons on you, okay?
Do you have any weapons on you? No. No guns, no knives or anything? How much have you had to drink today?
About 2.5 of these.
You got probation or anything?
I am.
As officers struggle to get the answers they need from the intoxicated suspect, help arrives in the form of 2 detectives who are determined to uncover the truth. While the first prepares to question John in his driveway, the other heads to the back where the body supposedly lies buried.
He says this is where he buried the body in here. There's the shovel. He says it's not very deep either.
Looks like he even went and got topsoil or something and put it
Yeah,
on.
I don't know where that came from. But
Could
this
have
is
bought it.
Yeah, that's true too. He says not very deep, but
I think he had intentions with the gas cans.
don't know. He's sometimes he is very forthcoming and then he won't. So, but see how it's like that in some bricks. There's 2 boards. He just threw together like whatever he had.
That's just weeds in there.
Yeah, that's what.
You didn't plant anything.
Nope, it's just some grass and some. Alrighty.
While one detective can only speculate, unable to disturb the shallow dirt without the help of a crime scene unit, the other works to uncover what could have driven Jonathan to commit such a grave act. What he claims is more shocking than anyone could have imagined.
Can you just take me from the top of what's going on while we're here today? Tell me in your own terms.
In my own way.
Yep.
He was in.
Okay. How did you know?
I had just met.
Where'd you meet him at?
I don't want to give those names.
Okay. What happens?
Okay, so I lost my job.
When did you lose your job?
I'm thinking about 3 months ago.
Okay. So you lost your job. Somehow you and this, what's his name?
We got into it because he was a random person.
Yeah.
That I met.
Okay.
He asked me.
While the police have redacted this part of the footage, John's initial call to 911 may shed some light on what was redacted.
He was a bad man. He made comments to me. He made comments to me about my son.
About the man wanted to do that, or was accusing you of doing that?
No, because he wanted to.
Gotcha. How old's your son?
He's 8.
It's important to note the truth of the matter has not been verified, and the statements made by John only reflect his opinion on what happened. This disturbing accusation may be difficult to prove, but an unsettling discovery will later shed some light on this subject. For now, the detective will work to get as many details as possible from John.
I met the guy because we were trying to exchange business. Then I shot him.
You were in the house at that point?
I was out here. I was right here where we're standing. Right here. This is right here.
Okay.
So look below the neck.
Okay. That's the kid's that.
There's no chance I can grab one more.
No. You have
John now shows the detective where he buried the body, but his chilling actions as he stands over the makeshift grave will be difficult for officers to ignore.
I feel like I should be talking to a lawyer by now.
Okay.
Yeah, so you should probably have me in your cuffs.
Okay.
You're a homicide investigator. I'm telling you the truth.
Okay. Don, I gotta take this call just real quick. If you'll just stay here with Officer Gable for a minute, okay?
His name was Jasper.
Okay.
I'm not sure that was his real name.
Okay. But as far as you know, he's still laying in here. Buried a couple feet down, right?
He is.
Seemingly unnerved by John's silent stare, the officer attempts to get more information about the missing murder weapon.
But you don't have that gun anymore?
I don't. Somebody broke in that window. That window was easily acceptable.
Mm-hmm. Did you report that gun stolen? Did you call the police?
I called the police when an incident happened, and they knew I was, for a fact, in jail, and somebody...
Did you report the firearm stolen, though?
I did not.
Was it your firearm, registered to you, or...?
It was mine.
It was yours? Where'd you get it at?
I got it from a flea market.
Okay.
Just know on
go
the
back
St.
out
Gallen
front with
call
us?
that I spoke with 494
We'll go back out front so we don't have to stand out here.
489
Right?
St. Gallen, as well as...
After putting out his cigarette in the dirt over the body buried just a few feet beneath the surface, John returns to the front of the house with the officers. When one officer thinks to ask what brought about his sudden desire to confess, his shocking revelation is not unexpected, as you'll soon learn.
Has the guilt of it been eating you up, or what made you decide to call us?
More like the evidence of it.
Okay.
You afraid?
He's like, I'm gonna get caught. Did anyone even call it in? Like he wasn't even like a suspect or anything.
Afraid since you're not paying your rent that your landlord's gonna find him back there?
Pretty much.
Shockingly, John's first call was not to 911. Knowing that he would soon be evicted, he opted to tell the one person he knew would eventually discover his jaw-dropping secret.
Okay, my name is Adam. I own a property. All I am is the owner. I'm not there right now, but the tenant just called me and said that he killed somebody there. Okay. He is there now. He is distraught. I told him that I was going to call you guys as soon as I got off the phone.
Yeah, he's actually on the phone with my partner right now.
I was just trying to keep the gentleman calm as I could keep him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm concerned for his well-being, and I told him, I said, I have to turn you in if you don't turn yourself in.
John revealed crucial details during his call to his landlord, as you'll hear later.
I don't know what to say. What's the news going to say now? The news is going to say I shot a black man because I was on meth. That's what the news is going to say.
Or
Okay, well that's new.
were you on meth that night? Did you say?
I was not.
Okay.
I absolutely was not.
Did you use any meth today?
No.
When was the last time you used meth?
Bro, this dude's still using meth.
No, the last time usually is the last time you
I was dabbling. with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure.
Oh, yeah. Dabbling. Okay.
I'm gonna just run through this real quick to make sure I got it straight. Okay. About 2 months ago, we're talking, this is July, so we're thinking May, early May, late May. Black guy from Colorado named Jasper comes here. You guys are going to make a deal. He's seeking meth, or you're seeking meth. He makes.
I was not. I never tried meth at that time.
Okay, so he's seeking meth from you, right?
Or is he what was your business about?
We were mutually seeking money. I was seeking money to pay rent.
How were you going to get that money?
Plan was just to sell on Facebook. I had a 401k from the job I worked, and I was buying items, and I was intending to sell them. The reason that I met the guy was because I felt like I needed a mutual bond with somebody. Our agreement was that, and also I draw portraits.
Was there something involved between you two?
I'm sorry.
I just don't want to misunderstand. There's nothing between you two, right? You and Jasper? Or was there arrangement for that?
There was not.
Okay.
There was his misunderstanding that there would be.
Okay.
He was a gay man.
Okay. Did you ever correspond with this guy on the internet or anything?
No.
Once again, John reiterates his claim that Jasper made advances not toward him, but toward his 8-year-old child.
From what I understand here, there's going to be no proof or evidence of that.
Of him making the advances?
Right.
When one officer circles back to questions regarding the victim's missing truck, John quickly interrupts her to ask a startling question of his own.
For what color? Vehicle was even?
There's no chance I can buy myself more time with a drink.
No, well, can't let you have anything else. Can't let you get back in your house at this point.
I think I should just talk to an attorney.
Searching for clues, officers enter John's house but are quickly hit with yet another disturbing realization.
It smells like chemicals. Is he cooking meth?
Yo, no way.
I mean, if you smell in there...
Is he cooking meth?
I don't know. Get out of there, Dana.
He might be cooking meth in here. That's going to complicate things.
Yeah, it's much stronger.
Yeah, I know. I could smell it when you guys pulled that back.
Unable to search the home, investigators hit a brick wall. Without a clear story, no murder weapon, and increasingly confusing answers as to the relationship between the two men, police have no choice but to arrest John and hope that the truth can be uncovered during interrogation.
You been drinking today? Yes. Okay, this is the first time I've talked to you, correct? You understand what I mean by that?
I should probably talk to a lawyer.
Okay. All right.
Now that the interrogation can't continue because John has asked for an attorney, investigators have no choice but to end the conversation before it begins. An officer soon returns to book him into the county jail, but shockingly, not for the crime which he earlier confessed.
We don't really know what's going on with the stuff you're confessing to. So for right now, you're just going to go to jail for a probation violation since you've been drinking. Okay? We're going to figure all this other stuff out, though. Okay?
Although John's intoxicated state left detectives unable to piece together the full story at the scene, crime scene investigators later succeeded in unearthing the body. The victim would later be identified as 33-year-old Jasper Brady. According to police reports, his body was discovered just beneath the flower bed, exactly where John confessed to burying him. He was found cocooned in several layers of trash bags, tarps, and plastic wrap, which were each sealed in duct tape. A later autopsy would confirm the cause of death as 2 gunshot wounds to the chest. Although his body was nearly beyond recognition, the autopsy report noted several details about his appearance. These observations, when compared to the video you're about to see, have spine-chilling similarities. At the time of his death, Jasper's hair was styled in a distinctive low bun. He donned a thin plaid scarf, wore 2 necklaces, and his fingernails were painted.
The heavyweight title of the world, you say? Is that all? Oh, break and show. I'm home. You know, I'll tell you something. It really sucks turning on my video camera when I do not have what I love in the background. What do I love, you ask? You know what? That is very nice of you asking. I can't find anyone that ever asks, nor care to ask. So thank you so much for asking. If you asked. If you did not ask, you're just another.
This video, uploaded on May 19, 2020, is the last video Jasper Brady ever published. Once the house is deemed safe for investigators, they soon discover the trash bags used to wrap the body, a pair of blue rubber gloves, and the keys to Jasper's missing truck. The truck, which may have been the scene of the grisly crime, is still missing, along with the gun he used to commit the violent act. No secrets are safe in prison, and one inmate who shares a cell with John informs the investigators about the truck's and gun's location. Unfortunately, upon arriving at the location described by the inmate, the alleged garage where it was being held claimed to have never received a truck matching the vehicle's description. The truck and the gun are still missing. As for John's motive, he tells his landlord what ultimately pushed him over the edge.
You know, when my son was here, and he popped in and asked a question, and the guy asked me, he said, can we sell him? And that, you know, that just, it went under my head, you know, when he said it, and yeah, it upset you, John? Yeah. You know, there was a lot of other things on top of it, too. Right. And I understand that would be a hard thing. But, you know, but with him, you know. Yeah, sure. I mean, if I was thinking clearly, I wouldn't have done that.
A later investigation unveiled a disturbing series of Facebook posts that may lend credence to his claims that Jasper held a horrifying secret. In these posts, made only days after John's arrest, they claimed to have been assaulted by Jasper Brady. They later contacted the police and made a chilling request.
Yeah, I have something to say about, you have a murder case you're working on. Jasper Brady was killed a few days ago. I have something to say to your suspect. Tell him I said thank you for killing my.
You say, was
Tell your suspect, the guy who turned himself in for killing Jasper Brady, that I said thank you for killing my.
While these details are mentioned in the case files, we've not been able to confirm any of these allegations against Jasper Brady as facts. Jonathan Welsh has a long criminal
Those stories are wild.
history with multiple misdemeanor charges from 2006 up to 2022. These include theft, underage drinking, possession of substances, criminal trespassing, and child endangerment, among others. In the case of Jasper Brady, Jonathan Welsh was charged with murder, tampering with evidence, and abuse of a corpse. He ultimately pleaded guilty to 1 count of murder, and on August 30th, 2022, 2 years after the incident, Jonathan was sentenced to an indefinite term of 15 years to life in prison. He's currently being held at the Richland Correctional Institution in Mansfield, Ohio, and will be eligible for parole on July 17th, 2035.
That's crazy. So Dubro like came down there thinking he was gonna get like he was gonna get some, and then like, but they were doing like drugs together. Maybe he was giving him stuff to cook. I don't know. That's crazy. Where'd my camera go?